Welcome, everyone, to NHL Best Bets for April 4th, presented by the Odds Shoppers. I'm Gator Betting, joined by my two co-hosts today, Franco the Banker and Gretzky Betskis. We're here to break down our favorite plays for tonight's massive three-game slate. Whether you're looking for player props, money lines, or totals, we've got you covered. Also, don't forget to check us out on the Odd Shoppers Tails Network, where we'll be dropping all of our best plays for our subscribers to get a chance on those early lines before they move. Remember, we're not just giving out picks, we're giving out our detailed explanations as well. You can use promo code PUCKS for 50% off your first month. That link for our Tails profile will be in the description of this video. Also, we'll be taking a deep dive into the Portfolio EV tool from the Odd Shoppers as well later on in the show. We're pumped to have you with us, so let's get into tonight's slate. Franco, why don't you start us off here? What is one of your best bets for tonight?
Well, I'm gonna lay out both of mine today because they're in the same game, and it would be redundant if you came back to me for the second one. So let's break it down. I'm looking in the Carolina Detroit game tonight. Red Wings still trying to fight for that spot. It looks like they're probably cooked at this point with only a few games left, and they're just not playing well right now, unfortunately for them. They are keeping games low scoring relatively, but Carolina has been kind of flying recently. Lots of goals for them. Obviously, they're a little bit worse on the road, so taking a little bit of caution here. But I just think given Carolina's recent form and Detroit probably now kind of accepting their fate, I want to go look at these two players just given their recent form as well. So these two guys are Jackson Blake and Taylor Hall, each of them for a point. Blake sitting at minus 115 on DraftKings, and Hall is sitting at minus 125. Like I said, both players in really good form recently. I'll start with Blake. So recently he got bumped up to the top line. He's playing with Aho and Jarvis, who have both been red hot. They're on multi-point point streaks as well. Jarvis on a 5-game point streak. So I think you're seeing them at minus 215 for Aho. Jarvis sitting at minus 172. So considering you're gonna get one of their line mates in Blake at minus 115, that feels like a really nice price. Shop that around. It looks like you can even get minus 102 elsewhere. That's probably like a FanDuel line. And we don't lose any value here as well. Like a lot of times you see these guys that are on that top line and they are on the second power play unit. That's not the case here for Carolina. He's actually on the top power play unit with them, so he's getting every chance to produce. Hall as well, so he's on the second line, and he's on the top power play unit as well. Second line not as productive, but we were talking before the game or before the show that Andrei Svechnikov is going for a milestone. He's another guy that has been kind of up and down this season. We don't know if he's going to return to Carolina, so he might be playing for a little bit of auditioning right now at this point. Kind of been up and down their lineup. Maybe he can find a new home this offseason. But regardless, since the trade and really recently especially, Taylor Hall has been on an absolute tear. Points in 9 of his last 10. Just the guy's like moving the clock back, I guess, at this point in his career. It doesn't make any sense. Former high pick. I don't know if was he first
overall. Oh yeah.
First overall. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was number one.
The initial first overall for the Edmonton Oilers on their
run of like a ton of
first overalls in like an 8-year span. Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Nail Yakupov.
Was Eberle one?
No, Eberle. I don't think so.
Okay.
And actually, it may have just been the 4 with McDavid then.
Yeah,
but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, not a bad run there for them. But regardless, it's been a while since he's been that type of guy. But right now, he's found a spot in Carolina again on that top power play. The main thing I want to focus on here as well with the power play is Detroit season long and in their last 10 games, the worst PK in the league.
Yeah.
69% on the season, nice, and 64% in their last 10. Carolina as well. Overall in the season, I believe they're like 18th in the league, but in their last 10 games, they've shot up to a 25% hit rate. I believe they scored like 3 or 4 goals in that power play goals in that last game. So the power play's flying. It's playing confident. Both Blake and Hall are on that top power play unit, with Jarvis and Aho and Gostisbehere rounding it out. So I just think getting both of these guys at bettable numbers and the fact that Carolina should be at least relatively productive in this game feels like a good value.
Yeah, I like both those plays.
I'm going to piggyback on that power play point you were making, because Shane Gostisbehere on that top unit has been red hot lately and had that short stint on the Red Wings last year. So he has a point in 7 of his last 10 games. And head-to-head against Detroit, he has one in 4 of his last 6. Out of those points, in his last 5, he has a power play point in 3 of those last 5 games, with 4 total in those 5 games. So if you want to get a little bit extra value here against the league's worst penalty kill, Shane Gostisbehere plus 244 power play point.
I like that look a
nice.
lot.
Love it.
Yeah, that's a great look.
That's all inspired by you, man. All inspired by you.
I painted the picture for you, so you just had to tap it in right there.
Yeah. Betsky, do you have any other plays that you were looking at, or do you want me to go before you go ahead? Your second play. All right, so I'm going to switch games here. I'm going to go to Chicago and Washington. So I'm going to start with Connor McMichael over 1.5 shots on goal. That's, I believe, around -130. I think even -140 on DraftKings. I'll post the exact odds on the graphic below. He's hit in 9 of his last 11 home games. So he's been a home dog this season. He's hit in 7 of his last 10 overall. His attempts have really been solid during that span, which is encouraging. Even last game against Carolina has been pretty stringy against shots on goal. He only had 11 minutes, so his time on ice dipped, but he still managed to hit that mark, having 3 shots on 4 attempts. His head-to-head's pretty solid, too. This year in their lone game against Chicago, he had 4 shots on goal on 5 attempts. We know Chicago's pretty leaky to shots this season, especially on the road. So Connor McMichael for 2+ is certainly one of my favorite looks. On the opposite side of things there, Ilya Mikheyev at that 2+ shots on goal mark looks great. His point, we can get into after this, also looks really great tonight. But Mikheyev, for his 2+ shots on goal, he's hitting 3 of his last 4. His attempts have been very solid during that span at 5, 2, 4, and 5. He is shooting, and he's not just covering that 2 mark when he's hitting. He's gone all the way up to a 4 in each of his last 4 games when he's hit. So maybe a little ladder if you want to take him at 2, 3, maybe sprinkle 4. Depends on how crazy you want to get on this Friday. But he did hit earlier this season against their game in Washington with 2 shots on goal on 5 attempts. And as well, I think he's been pretty solid on the road as of late, hitting in 3 of his last 4 and 6 of his last 10. So Mikheyev at 2+ and Connor McMichael at 2+ are my favorite bets in that game. Did you guys like that Mikheyev point?
Yeah, so that is what I will pitch today, because I am not even going to touch that Minnesota Islanders game at all. It's dirty, nasty, gross. No. Yeah, Mikheyev looks fantastic for a point today on that top line. In fact, you could kind of do a little combo play with anybody up there. So you got Mikheyev at +170. He's been shooting. He has a point in 4 of his last 5 games. Head-to-head against Washington, he has a point in 5 of his last 7, with 3 multi-point games in the mix there. And we were talking earlier, he's at 18 goals this season. Or I'm sorry, he has 78 goals this season. Not this season, career goals.
You had it. You had it right. 18 on the season, 78 for his career.
Yep. So he's probably got a little extra motivation to try to chip 1 in or 2 to kind of reach that milestone. Washington may not have too much to play for outside of Ovi's goal record too, which of course I think every show from here till the end of the season, even after he hits Gretzky's record, I think it's totally fine to keep on playing his goal, because you want to pad that. You don't want to just do it by 1, right? Anyways, Mikheyev plus 170 for a point looks really, really nice. And then if you want to take what it would be like the safest option of that top line of Chicago, you got Ryan Donato at minus 135 for a point. He has a point in 4 of his last 5 games as well, but he has, let me do the math real quick, 8 points in those 4 games. He has a point in those 5. He just missed against Colorado. Head-to-head against Washington's not so great, but he is looking to set his career high of 30 goals this season, and he is sitting at 29. So that'd be a huge milestone for Ryan Donato, who is an upcoming free agent this summer. So he may be increasing that price. So lots of motivation there to get a point. You could stack him with Mikheyev if you want, or you could take the third of the 3 amigos of the little short and stout guys of that top line of Chicago with Connor Bedard, who is minus 120 for a point. And just like the other two, he has a point in 4 of his last 5 games, 4 points in those. I'm sorry, 5 points in those games. Head to head against Washington, it's not great, even though his career is only 2 seasons long so far. But you could kind of pick and choose any of them, staple them together, maybe take a goal on any of those guys either. And I mean, they're probably all plus money. You could probably take a quarter of a unit on any one of them. And if 2 of them get a goal, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, so I think that was 4 or 5 plays right there with Mikheyev point, Bedard point, Donato point, and then some configuration of a line stack between all 3 of them. So I think I like that a lot.
Mix and match.
Yeah,
Mix and match.
That's really good. All right, before we get into the Portfolio EV tool, I do have one last play. It's a same game parlay in Betsky's yucky game of the day with the Minnesota Wild and the New York Islanders. We're going to do a 2+ shots on goal parlay between Tony DeAngelo and Matt Zuccarello. So this is a matchup play here. Minnesota in the last 10 games has allowed the most shots on goal to defensemen, and DeAngelo has been firing lately. He's hitting 4 of his last 5. He's got a great track record against Minnesota, and he has been better at home this season, also hitting in 4 of his last 5 and 8 of his last 10 overall. Matt Zuccarello, on the other hand, the Islanders have allowed the 5th most shots on goal to forwards in their last 10 games. So he's been pretty good at hitting in 2 of his last 3. He's hit in 4 of 5 against the Islanders overall. And again, he's been pretty solid on the road this season, hitting in 4 of his last 5. And looking at a bigger time period, 6 of his last 10. So that's a fun little parlay, same game parlay, in that last one for plus 132 on DraftKings. Any other plays for tonight?
No, there's 3 games. Let's stick with this.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Now that we've given out all of our top plays, it's time to dive into the Portfolio EV tool from the Odd Shoppers. But before we do that, just a quick reminder, you can use our promo code NHL Bets for 50% off your first month. You'll find the link for that in the description of that in the video as well. All right, let's get into the Portfolio EV tool. Looking at the Portfolio EV tool for today. We love this tool for a lot of reasons. It allows us to build custom portfolios specifically for NHL betting and use a market-based approach to identify those plus EV plays, beating true odds across all sportsbooks. Plus, you can filter by sportsbooks for your specific area. All right, Franco, what are you thinking for our Portfolio EV tool play of the day?
Before we get into it, originally we hadn't been filtering by removing the historical ROI tab here. We've been including the ones that have been negative. So we actually filtered that off to remove those. So just to give you an update of what that means kind of is, it's just going to tell you whether historically betting that type of bet on that particular book has been profitable over the course of the season. So for example, like the first one we're seeing here is the side or under. It's just telling you that if you bet that side or under, or any under shots on goal prop on Bet Rivers, when they identify Bet Rivers as a outlier over the course of the season, that has returned a 9.1% ROI betting that style of bet on BetRivers. So given that, we're seeing two, obviously here, Sider and Larkin under. But I want to target Larkin. So just given his recent form on shots, you're looking at his last 10. He's only hit in 3 of his last 10. And it doesn't really make sense. Again, we're talking about a team that's fighting for their playoff lives. You would think that their captain would be the one leading the charge, but that has not been the case. Looking a little closer too, I mean, it wasn't against particularly tough teams either where he's missed. Boston has conceded a ton of shots. Colorado, not the best defensive team either. There are a couple tough ones in there like Vegas and Carolina, but guess what? They're playing Carolina. So he only had 1 in that game against Carolina. Looking even closer, his shot attempts over that last 10, he's averaging 2.7 attempts per game. That is not going to get you up to 3. That's for sure. If you're averaging less than 3 attempts per game. So I think it's a good look here tonight, just given what we've seen. Carolina's defense is tough as it is. And his hit rate just isn't there. So if this is pointed out as a good look tonight, I don't mind it.
Yeah, he's been worse at home this season too, oddly enough. He's only hit in 1 of his last 4, and kind of looking at a larger time span, 5 of his last 10. So I really like that Larkin look. And Betsky again, that Mikheyev over 1.5 block or 1.5 shots on goal is on there as well at plus 102 on FanDuel. So another good look from us. We pulled this up afterwards and we're like, we're sharp. Yeah.
Perfect. There you go. It likes it and we like it. That's like a double bonus there.
Exactly. Any other plays for you guys tonight?
No.
No, perfect. All right, that's going to wrap up today's episode of NHL Best Bets presented by the Odd Shoppers. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to join us next time as we break down more of our top plays and insights. Once more, you can use promo code NHL Bets for 50% off your first month on the Portfolio EV tool from the Odd Shoppers. And don't forget to check us out on Tails using promo code PUCKS for 50% off your first month. Also, catch us live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5:30 p.m. on our expected bets for YouTube and Twitter streams. We appreciate everyone for tuning in today, and we will talk to you next time.